Good morning and a happy Monday morning to everybody. Obviously, with everything that went on over the weekend, everybody's distressed. All we can do is send up our prayers for everybody on both sides. Civilians on both sides are going to be the losers in this thing. All right, let's jump into what we have to cover today. There's a lot as usual. Let's go. We're going to start off with Princess Anne. We know that she is patron of the Scottish Rugby Union, so she went to attend the Scotland versus Ireland Rugby World Cup match. I'm not even going to try to say it. It was in Paris. And so it got to the end, and they faced each other. Ireland won by a score of 36-14. Wow. And they kind of just cruised on in there. So this is the Rugby World Quarter quarterfinals. So I'm not sure when the next game is, but I will keep an eye out for this. Way to go, Anne, looking as lovely as she usually does. Moving on. Let's move on now to the Duke of Gloucester. He went to the Braintree Museum to look at the Warner's Textile Archive exhibition because they were celebrating their 30th anniversary. These are the kinds of exhibitions I wish I was there to see. Looks so interesting. Now, when he finished there, he went to the Alms House. It's the Alms Association in Halstead, Essex. They were celebrating their centenary anniversary. So they had a beautiful cake and, all kinds of stuff going on. I mean, in all seriousness, that really is a good-looking cake. All right, let's move on now to King Charles. He was spotted Sunday morning driving Queen Camilla to church in Balmoral. Looking good. Now, sticking with King Charles, he went to open a bridge that replaced an old existing bridge that had been there for 271 years. The Abshire Road structure, there you go, it was named to commemorate Queen Elizabeth and honor her Platinum Jubilee, which I think is just lovely. Now, here's the interesting part when I was reading this article. So the structure that was there that was built in the 1700s couldn't handle the weight and the volume of modern day traffic. Remember, when it was built, it was people and horses and whatever, and it had damage over many years. So they decided to keep the pieces of the bridge to be used later for non-motorized users. Very nice. Now, also interesting for the opening, a new piece of music was written especially for this, and it was played by the pipe band. Very nice. Moving on. Now, still sticking with King Charles, he sent a very heartfelt message to the president of Italy after the bus crash that occurred near Venice. Very nice. All right, we're going to move on to Prince Edward now. When he was in Bahrain last week, in his capacity as Commodore-in-Chief of the Royal Fleet Auxiliary, he went to the hub of the Royal Navy operations in the Middle Eastern, and he thanked them all for their support of the region. He looks very spiffy and white. Still sticking with Edward, he is the patron of the Badminton Association, apparently. And so he went to the Scottish Open Badminton International. It was in the Emirates Arena in Glasgow, and he was received by Mrs. Ruth Maltman, who is the Deputy Lieutenant of the City of Glasgow. Now, for those of you who are unaware, this is an international championship that has been held in Scotland since 1907, so it's one of the oldest badminton tournaments in the world. And I love seeing Edward with the young people. Moving on. All right, moving on to Harry and Meghan. This came up on Twitter. Basically, Neil Sean is saying that Spotify wants to do a docu-series about how difficult Harry and Meghan were, how the deal for Spotify came about, how they needed like 20 producers to even get the 12 podcasts out. I would watch that. I would find that very interesting. There's an idea. Moving on. A blind item came out saying that Meghan had a lunch with a billionaire, and if she's not careful, she's going to make another A-lister angry. I believe that's Angelina Jolie and her friend, Mr. Rothschild, I believe it is. Next up. All right, next up, This article was very interesting because basically it has to do with Meghan wanting to release a biography. And what this article says is, and I'm quoting, "You do not release a biography when the world is tired of hearing from you." We are sick of hearing from them. They poke their nose into absolutely everything. Their interest is massively on the decline. They just did another poll, and Meghan's popularity in the United States is plummeting. It's even below Harry's. Now, we know that William is apparently one of the most well-loved, or the top person in the United States, and these two are now scraping the barrel because of their behavior. And this is part of the problem. So now these articles are coming out. Meghan's been warned her reputation is beyond repair. It is beyond repair. When you are caught in lie after lie, when all you do is sit in a mansion and whine about your life, when you're never happy with anything you've been given, yes, you're unpopular on both sides of the Atlantic. Nobody wants it anymore. It's done. So what's happening now? Well, it's being reported that they're launching a charm offensive. They're sending gift baskets. She's writing handwritten calligraphy notes. Now, since they're returning to New York, they're really going to turn on the charm. So what this article is saying is you are going to see unscheduled stops for community engagement, public praise for the city, because obviously the city didn't back them up in their lie. They have a lot of damage to fix, but I just don't think it's fixable. All right, before we get on to our two big things for the day, I really wanted to touch on this article. They're saying that Meghan is going to have sleepless nights because Jessica Mulroney, who she dropped like a hot potato, didn't sign an NDA, and she put up a very cryptic message on social media about her detachment game. I told you guys about that already. She can say whatever she wants. She can do whatever she wants. As a matter of fact, so can Meghan's ex-husband, Trevor, who apparently has been approached about writing a book about how Meghan was when they were married. Oh my God, I would buy that. Moving on. All right, let's go back. This is one of our two big ones for today. First of all, this article by People says that Harry and Meghan are hosting a parent summit. That is inaccurate. The parent summit is being done by Project Healthy Minds. This has been going. It's already sold out. They didn't even make it onto the poster. They were so late in arranging. Their WME managed to get them in at the last point. They're not hosting anything. Now, this is the second year they're doing this, and I want to explain something to you. Project Healthy Minds, there's a website, you can go look at it, okay? This is a new nonprofit for a new area of mental health, okay? And they're talking about the mental health crisis. It almost looks like something Meghan would write. It would be a word salad, okay? There's going to be parents there who have lost their children. So what this group is doing is they're building technology to make finding support for mental health available. And now you've got Harry and Meghan coming in talking about making the internet safe. And, you know, they're going to spew their word salad, which has nothing to do with what this is. There is a place, as you can see above, where you can write to them to tell them what you think about Harry and Meghan joining them. Now, this really shocked me. The Surgeon General of the United States put out a tweet saying, "Oh, as a father of two and blah, 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 and we've joined forces with Archwell." What? This thing has been going for years. Archwell just now came on the scene. So basically, the U.S. Surgeon General is advocating for this man who's pushing illegal drugs towards teenagers to clear the windscreens. You guys get where I'm going? This is like beyond inappropriate. But since Harry and Meghan want to talk about safety in the digital world, here's some stuff that they could work on. For those of you who don't know what you're looking at some of the tweets from the Sussex Squad. These are things that they have been putting up for years. Harry and Meghan are well aware of them. They've taken pictures with them at Invictus. They know who they are. They know what they're doing. But not once have they ever spoken out and said to them, "Stop it. This is not internet safety. Think about other people's mental health. That's my family. Those are my nieces and nephews." Far be it for them to say anything to them. As a matter of fact, They actually phoned a friend a year or two ago or fan to thank them for their work. And when it was pointed out that these people they thanked were part of this group that had put up these tweets, their response was no comment. So I think Meghan's going to try to have another red carpet moment. Not kidding. And this is what we're going to see. So besides the fact that we know she's going to try to turn this into a red carpet event, and besides the fact that we know she's going to be running Harry around, until the two of them are willing to talk to their own followers who spew most of the hate on the internet, I have absolutely no interest whatsoever in anything they say. Moving on. Now, here is one of the big stories for today. This woman, Jennifer Sue, put up this tweet and said, "We just arrived in LA. We went out for dinner and we ran into Meghan Markle. Very low key, super nice." And they took this picture. Who believes that this is not a setup? Go ahead, raise your hands, raise your hands. Again, total setup. Here we go. So this Miss Sue is well known for her red carpet work. She's a big name in South African TV and radio. She also wrote a book, if you can believe it or not, on personal branding. Apparently, it's how to go from Z-list to A-list using her roadmap to rebranding, which is something we've already discussed multiple times. This is what she's trying to do. Now, of course, if you're a nice, authentic person, you don't need to rebrand all the time, do you? Now, since they made a point of getting the corner of the hotel there in there, we're able to see that it is the Beverly Hills Hotel. That is iconic to the hotel. I mean, apparently, according to the Royal News Network, she used to have meetings there about Spotify in the conference rooms there. Now, I got to be honest, I'm really surprised that this Jen Sue woman, what is the deal with these public figures who have figured out that they've lied and yet they still want to help? I don't get it. Now, there's a big stink about the girl because she looks just like a 14-year-old girl who hugged Meghan after, outside the castle after the Queen passed away. Now, people are saying, well, it can't be her because she was only 14 then. Was she 14 then? Did she tell the truth? Or was she a plant in the group there? You know what I'm saying? We know that Meghan's been known to put plants in. Well, here's a few little pieces of information. First of all, thank you to Rowan Loves Roses. Look at the watch. It's exactly the same watch. Okay, that could be a coincidence. It's also been pointed out she's wearing the same ring on the same finger. I'm sorry, you guys. That just seems a little bit too coincidental for me. You know what I'm saying? That there's just no way. Now, keep in mind, it's been over a year since that first picture was taken. She's matured up, and her age was put in by her. So she very well could have lied about how old she was when she was there at the castle. Now, she is the daughter of a big socialite. She travels all over the place with her. And wouldn't you know it, she even has a picture with Nacho. Guys, set up. And people on Twitter are putting up stuff like this. She needs to stop playing with the Waleses. She needs to stop playing games. What she doesn't realize is she's not even in the same game with Catherine and William. And with that, I want to show you part of the PR thing that Meghan is doing. Notice this is 17 magazine, Home and Yard winning. What does it say? Meghan Markle is an activist and altruist she's known to be passionate about. Oh, Oprah Daily, Harper's Bazaar. Meghan Markle is an activist and altruist and she's known to be passionate about. Oh, Good Housekeeping. You get the point? They have they pay for these same articles to be put out over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because if you see it in enough places, somehow you'll think it's true. I believe this is all part of WME's rebranding, but putting it out in 50 articles doesn't change the fact that every time she and Harry do something with money that, by the way, isn't theirs, it's money donated, they announce it to the world. And this saying really gets me. You do things for people not because of who they are or what they can do in return, because of who you are. That's, if she lived by that saying, I don't think she can. Oh my goodness, you guys, you know what I'm looking for. Put those comments down, make them good. And if you've donated to my coffee fund or through the thanks button, thank you so much. Have a great day.